Welcome back to San Antonio Living. It is official. San Antonio is the #1 spot for romance. And we thought we'd kind of steam things up a little bit more this morning. The San Antonio romance authors are in studio. We're talking about some of their new books. You can get to know them. And they're going to be answering your love questions a little bit later on. So go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/news4sa. Post your love question, and the ladies will answer them. Patricia Walters-Fisher is here, yes. Sasha Summer, and Lori Ulrich. These are all women who spend their days writing romance novels. And then what do you do by night, I suppose?
Have kids. Yeah.
Laundry. Do laundry.
Dinner. Yes. Isn't that how it always works?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's talk a little bit about the group, because there are more than just the three of you. This is a big group of women who love writing romance.
Actually, we just had a second male member.
A man join the club. What?
So we've got 43 members.
This.
Yes, right. We have 43 members now, up from, we had as low as 17 a few years ago. So we're up to 43 members. We meet once a month and we talk either the business of writing, the craft of writing, how to market your book, help each other with critiques, set up events. I mean, and we're always on Facebook or Twitter helping each other, so yeah.
I love it. All right, we got to talk about your book. It's called Deep in the Heart. This is Patricia's most recent romance novel. What's this about?
Well, you have a girl who's returned back to Tuscany, Texas, and she owes time for the education trust that's set up by the town, and this is the last place she wants to be. So she's just trying to stay under the radar and everything, and of course she can't because something happens and she runs into an old high school flame.
Oh, isn't that how it always starts?
It does, yes. You know, so it's fun and it's full of family and hill country stuff. So
oh, I love it. So you're not only featuring hill country locations, this is a San Antonio writer, a little bit of romance in there as well. Okay, Sasha, your book is Cowboys and Kisses. Tell me about it.
Well, it's my first young adult, which is kind of exciting for me because I still think I'm 14. But it's kind of a new girl situation, and that a girl from a big city moves to a small town loosely based on Bandera.
Okay.
And she does everything she can not to fall in love with a cowboy, but it's Cowboys and Kisses, so you kind of know it's going to end up with her kissing a cowboy.
I saw that this was a novel for teens, so I've got a 14-year-old daughter. Can she read this book?
Totally. Did she read like the Twilight books?
Yes.
Yes. No.
Okay.
She'll love it.
I think that's so great. What went through your head when you decided to go the teen route?
Well, I have two teenage daughters, and they kind of went through a similar situation. There is no cowboy that I know of, but as far as moving and starting over and trying to find their place, and so this was kind of an expansion on that, because there has to be romance if I'm going to write it.
Okay, did your teenagers freak out a little bit? Mom's writing a book about teen love. Are we featured in it?
No,
Okay.
no, because I met their father when I was a teenager.
Okay.
So they kind of were like, oh, Mom, whatever.
All right. Okay, so Lori, you've got a couple of books out right now. One is Call the Lightning, and then you've also got a new book that you brought this morning called Stone Angels. That is one thick book. How long did it take you to write that?
About 5 months.
Okay. Woo, it's a long one. Tell me a little bit about what your area of expertise is when it comes to romance writing.
Sure. The Stone Angels book is part of a series. It's called the Pramani series, and it's actually an urban fantasy romance.
Okay.
So it has a lot of urban fantasy elements as well as paranormal romance mixed in with it. A lot of action and adventure. So it really works for guys and girls. This particular book wraps up the Micah Killian love story, 3,000 years in the making, and ties in some of the other characters who people have come to love, their fight with faith and trying to understand where they are in the world, not to mention the battles with demons and the angels. So it kind of wraps everything up, and the nice thing about it is it appeals to everybody. I'm surprised at how many older people like it. It was written really for 20-somethings, and most of my fans seem to be about 45.
It just came out this morning, the study from Amazon.com. San Antonians are buying a lot of romantic novels. Apparently, we are purchasing the most throughout the country. So what does that tell you about people who are reading your books?
Well, that they're fantastic, and we already knew
That's
that
right. They have
San
a great
Antonio were
taste
the
in
best.
Yeah,
Yes,
very good
tremendous. I think that it's very cool to see this kind of push for reading. You know, I know that the SA Reads has been pushing that. The mayor has been pushing to make our city healthier.
Right.
And if we have a more educated group of people, whether they're reading romance or what have you, they're reading.
They're reading. Mm-hmm.
And that's tremendous.
What about the trend in recent times, obviously, to go to more erotic kind of novels? I mean, there's been a huge push ever since 50 Shades of Grey came out. Women are devouring these books. What do you think about that?
I think it's, I think like anything, you can find what you're looking for. And, really, you have to sit down and say, what makes me the most comfortable? I've actually had friends of mine that said, I'm waiting for the PG-rated version of your book to come out. Granted that there's maybe a couple of scenes in it, but they want something more sweet. So, I mean, we have people in our group that write only inspirational romance. And we have others that write books with romantic elements, meaning the story doesn't key off of the romance of the people.
Right.
So I think that you have to kind of find what you want, but also it's, I think, curiosity too.
Yeah.
And maybe people just don't know how to say something. I've actually had friends that say, I just tell my husband, I want this.
Read this
And they
book.
point to the book.
Yeah.
And they say, here. And
It is a real, I've heard from friends who have done that with 50 Shades of Grey. They're like, this is a really great chapter. Read this. Let me know what you think. Who's married here or has a significant other? Either way. Okay. What does your husband say about the fact that you're writing romance novels?
I think he actually prefers the YA because my others are not YA, but they're not 50 Shades of Grey either. And then I have a sci-fi, and I think he preferred those just because I'm not sure it makes him uncomfortable, but I think he is more traditional, and so the fact that it's out there and it has my name kind of on it, I'm not sure he's really like, woohoo, for that. But, then I get my royalty check, and he's like, woohoo.
It's all good. It's all good. How about you, Patricia? What does he say?
He's all for it.
Yeah.
I was a nurse for 10 years and went back and got my journalism degree, and he's just thrilled that I'm using my journalism degree. So.
Are there any rules in your households when it comes to what's allowed to be spoken of in a book and what's not allowed to be talked about?
No?
No. Hey, I like no rules.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, mine would definitely not want me to venture into the 50 Shades of Grey, and I respect that. I mean, I think that when you're in a marriage or any relationship, you definitely want to be aware of their comfort level because when you go out there, you're kind of dragging them too.
Well, there's a lot of different kinds of romance novels out there, from historic with Grecian undertones to the young adults to the typical romance novels. We've got it all here in San Antonio, and a special book signing coming up this weekend at Barnes & Noble at the Shops at La Cantera. You can meet these ladies as well as other authors that are part of the San Antonio Romance Authors Group. They'll be signing books, they'll be chatting with you, and it's a great way to get involved with these group of women here in San Antonio. All right. Coming up next, guys, these ladies are answering your questions. If you've got a love question that you want answered, post it on Facebook. It's facebook.com/news4SA, or tweet us with the hashtag SALiving. We'll be answering your questions a little bit later on. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. We are with the San Antonio Romance Authors this morning. Patricia is joining us, Sasha and Lori, and you can meet them all this weekend out at the Shops at La Cantera for a book signing. These ladies get together, they help each other write romance novels, and you guys have, amongst all of you, hundreds of books have been published.
Yes.
So these ladies know romance, basically, is what it comes down to. So we wanted to know if you had a romance question for the romance authors. And Denise is joining us. All right, Denise, what do the viewers want to know? Because we're going to do this in a fun way. We're going to answer the questions as if the viewer was like a character maybe in one of your books.
That's so exciting.
You're no longer like a normal person. Now you're a romantic lead, and here's what you should do with your life, right?
Yes, I think my romantic lead name would be Sophia.
Sophia?
Yes.
That's a good one.
I like it. I like it. All right, so what are they asking? What's our first question,
We
Denise?
have a viewer named Anna who described her whole relationship. They fell quickly in love, and he seemed to fall quickly out of love at the same time. She was very bummed about it, but she is the total catch. She let us know, and she's got everything going for her. So she wanted to know, her first question was, do you find that the May-December romances work? Those seasonal romances, is there a certain season that you should fall in love, or is there a certain season that you should try and stay away because it may not be so good to try and start a relationship during that time?
Well, first of all, with a name like Anna, she's in good company because that is a very romantic name, right?
Yes.
What do you think? What should she do? Should she stay involved with a May-December romance? Just enjoy it while you can. What's your advice?
Well, it depends on what her goals are. She were Jocelyn in my book, she has specific goals for herself professionally. And so if the person that she is involved with can support that and she can support his goals, great. If not, she's better off taking care of herself, and she will find the best person ever when she's not looking.
I like that. All right. It depends on whether or not you're a goal-oriented romantic. What about you, Sasha? What do you think?
Well, if it was Allie in Cowboys and Kisses, she would say no because she's a teenager. So she'd be like, I don't think so. I mean, maybe if he's a college guy, but no.
See, another perspective. All right, Lori, what about if she was a character in one of your books?
Well, my female is a little bit younger than the guy, so she would probably say older is better.
Okay.
But realistically, she would probably say, you know what, if you can't support me and you're just going to walk away and not be there for me, then it doesn't matter how hot you are, doesn't matter how awesome you are or how great you are, you're not good enough for me.
I love it. I want to be a romance character. I'd be way more sassy in real life. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, Anna. Denise, what else do we have?
We have another question from the same viewer, Anna. So this was a different spin on her whole situation. She asked, why is it that bad women with baggage tend to have men pining over them, whereas a good catch, like herself, isn't pined after?
Oh, that sounds like the stuff romance novels are made of, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so what's the story there? If you're a woman who's got a lot of baggage versus a woman without a lot of baggage, what can the good woman do to get a date, basically?
Wow.
Or attract a man?
Wow. Well, I think that if she were a character out of my book, deep in my heart, I think she would sit there and go, no, what am I not giving myself in the sense of positive reinforcement?
Okay.
And I would say, maybe I don't know what I'm looking for.
Ooh, I like
so
this.
maybe I should think about what I'm looking for versus wanting someone who wants someone with baggage. Maybe I should back up and find someone too, because women do it too. They fall for the bad boy.
We do.
That's not good.
We so do. All right, Sasha, what would your character say?
Well, Allie has a lot of baggage, but that's the whole teen angst thing. And I think that either boy or girl, I think there's that challenge. There's that I can reform this person and make them into a decent person. So if you come across as
with
like
nothing
normal,
to fix, right?
then it's like, because we all like a good challenge. So.
It is so true. That's a very good point. I totally agree with that. All right, Lori, what would your character do?
My character would say, well, forget it. If you want to walk over there and find some girl who needs all your babysitting and you have to take care of her all day long, then go for it. I am on my own. I'm a perfect catch.
Yeah.
I'll find somebody else.
I like it. All right,
Very independent.
Denise, I'm gonna use your question here because I think this is a universal question for all women. We learned from Denise a little bit earlier. She wants a romantic carriage ride, as do I, as do all women. What do you say to women who want their lives to unfold like a romance novel, but they don't?
Well, first, you have to accept the fact that men do not read minds. They do not read minds at all. And so you basically have to say, this would be a really fun thing to do. When can we do this? Because sometimes you have to take control of it. And then your partner, whoever you're with, a spouse, and it's their turn to take the next step. Now, they may not tell you that they're going to do it on a day that you've had the worst day ever. Then that makes it romantic. But you've mentioned it. You've put it out there. But don't wait for them to read your mind.
We do. We get wrapped up. We want our lives to be a movie. We want it to be like the book, but it's not. It's not most realities. It's not. No. All right, but we can read all we want, right, ladies? For sure. Denise, thank you. Always good checking in with you, and thank you to the viewers for the comments. Again, you can find these ladies out at Barnes & Noble at the Shops at La Cantera on Saturday from 2 to 4. Pick up their books. They'll sign them for you, and you can find more information on the website. It's SARARWA.org.